Hello everyone, welcome to a new tutorial. My name is Bilikis. If you are new, you are welcome, and make sure you subscribe. And you've been a fan of mine and you are not yet subscribed, please subscribe so as not to miss out on any notification. So today's tutorial will be on how to make a detachable peplum, meaning you can just put it on any hugging outfit you have on. So looking at what I have here, it's going to be two-step. You can see the band. This is the waistband, which is also in form of a long strap. Then I have the first one, which is going to be 5 inches in length. Then the second one, which will be 10 inches. You can see how it looks. That's the sketch. Then going to the measurement required now, you need your waist circumference. Mine is 36 inches. Peplum length, the first one, as I've said, is 5 inches. Then the second one is 10 inches. Then another important thing you need is the waist radius, which we will use to get the circular part. My waist radius now is this. To calculate it, you need your waist circumference plus seam allowance divided by 6.28. That's because it is a full circle. So now, here I have 36 inches plus 1. Since I want 1 inch on both sides, so you just add 1, that's the trick. So I have 37, that's 36 plus seam allowance, I have 37 inches divided by 6.28. When I divide that, I have 5.89, which is approximately 5.9 inches. So that's my waist radius. Now let's go over to start cutting it out. So I'll be making use of these two fabric. Can you see it's a plain and pattern? So what I will do now is this. This waistband could be this very plain material. Then the second here will be the same material, while the one in the middle could be this pattern material. You can just adjust it how you like. This is the fabric now. So what do I do now? I need the total length, the first here now, that's the longest. I'm going to cut out the longest, which is 10 inches in length. So I just need to add that 10 inches plus this waist radius, which is 5.89. So when I add it, I should have 15.89 or approximately 15.9 inches. So here now, 15.9, but just fold like 19 to 20 to be on the safer side. So this is 20 inches now. Then I'm just going to fold over this way. So I folded 20 over now. Can you see that? The next thing, because we are folding for a full circle, then I'll have to fold it over again. So let me check. Okay, so I can still make use of this. So this is just okay. So you can start drafting on it now. Since we have the perfect fold now, the first thing I'm going to do is to insert the radius measurement. That's approximately 5.9. That's almost 6. So that will be on this last bar. Make sure the edge of your measuring tape is at the edge of the folded part. Now I have my 5.9 placed all around. Can you see that? Can you see? So having done that now, I need to insert the length of the peplum itself. So what I just did is, remember it is 10 inches. This is for the second tier. So 10 inches plus 5.9, that will give me 15.9. Then remember, we will need seam allowance to join this to the lining because it's going to have a lining, but you can decide not to have a lining attached to yours. Seam allowance now, I'm going to add extra 1 inch to that. So the length of the peplum itself is 10 inches, half inch to measure it at the upper part, which is, that's half. Then for the lower part to attach it with the lining, that is another half, making 1 inch. So to the 15.9, I'm going to add that 1 inch to it, which will make it 16.9. So from this edge now, I'll measure 16.9. So from there now, let's measure what we have here. So that means we have 11 inches. That's the 10 inches for the actual length, then 1 inch for seam allowance to join it up. So that's 15.9. Then I'll keep rotating it. So now I have that now. So the next thing is to cut it out. Everything is cut out now. Now I have a full circle. I'm going to slit one side, but first I want to cut the other material. Let me fold just the same way I folded this. I folded the fabric now, the pattern material, can you see? But when I folded this, it wasn't up to 20 like the one I folded the other time. So it's just around 13 because it will be shorter. From our measurement here, remember the first here, which is this, is going to be 5 inches long. So that was why I folded in the short form. So what I'll do now is this. First I'll cut out the radius. So what I'll do is this. So I'm going to make sure this folded part matches this folded part and also this part. Now I've adjusted it so well. So first I'll cut the radius before I measure the 5 inches plus 1 inch seam allowance. Now I've cut this. Right now I've cut this off. So I don't need this anymore. So the next thing now, remember the length is 5 inches, then plus 1 inch seam allowance for the upper part and the lower part. So now I'm going to measure 6 all round. 6 inches. Then I move it here, 6 inches all through. Now I've marked the 6 inches, then I'll just cut it out. I've cut it off. So the next thing now is to cut the lining exactly the same way. So it's going to be on each other this way. Can you see that? So let me cut the lining exactly the same way and fold exactly how I folded. I've cut out the lining for each one. Can you see that? So you might see something white. I used a very light interfacing just to make the lining stable. So that was what I did. So I've cut this. This is the lining for this. The next thing now is to cut the long strap to tie it up at the back. Now here, this will serve as the waistband and then the rope to strap it at the back. So I just cut a very long strip of fabric. Can you see that? Then here, I had to join this smaller fabric to it here before I place my interfacing, very light interfacing, popularly called paper stick, to it. So here I have, I think, 103 inches in length. Let me just check that for you to confirm. I want a very wide band, so you can see that. So here now, I have 52. So that's 52 times 2, which is 104 for the long strap. Can you see that? I have a band height of 3 inches. Then don't forget the extra half inch in which we are going to use to sew it up. Looking at this, I already folded half an inch inward. So that 3 inches will have to be on fold, which is 6 inches plus extra 1 inch, half inch here too. So it's attach it to the peplum. What I'll do now is to start sewing it up. So we're going to start with the peplum itself. Now this is it. I'll just make sure right sides are facing each other. I forgot, before joining it together, we have to slit open. Remember, we left the allowance to do that. So I'm going to just, can you see it? Make sure it's like a half circle. Then I'm going to slit this up. And I'll do that to the lining too. So that's that. Now I've placed the right side facing each other. Can you see that? So what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to sew from here all around, just half an inch like we left, all through, then close up this slitted part. Can you see that? Just sew like this, then round till you come here, then sew it up before we bring it out. Also to this other one. Right now, I've sewn it. Can you see what it looks like? Then what I did was that I top stitch all the seam allowance towards the lining, meaning all this seam allowance of half an inch, I just place them on the lining here. Then I top stitch like 1/4 of an inch just to secure it up. Then I'll have to remove everything so as to give it a good press. Can you see this? I've brought it out. So this is what it will look like. Can you see? And don't forget to notch before you top stitch. You just notch with your scissors. So I'm going to give it a good press now. Then we can just finish it off. I've given it a good press. You can see how beautiful it looks. Can you see this too? So in case you have any irregularities, just trim it off. So what I'm going to do now is this. I want to secure both the front and both the first and second tail. Can you see that? I'm going to place it on each other. Then I'm just going to sew in 1/4 of an inch. Head here all through. Just take your time. And I'm just going to sew it till the end. Can you see that? So I'm going to do that before we fix the band. Now I've done that. Can you see that? Can you see what I have? So setting that aside, then I'm going to give you a tip. In case yours is wider, I'll show you how to do that. Don't worry. So going over to the straps, can you see that? So it is unfold this way. So what I did is to bring it out. This part still folded. Can you see that? So I'm just going to sew in 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 an inch. It depends on you. After that, then I'm going to bring it all out. Can you see that? Then I'm going to give it a good press. Also this other side. I've given it a good press. This is what I have. So now I'm going to get the midpoint of this very strap. Now this is the midpoint. So I'm going to give that a notch because I'm going to need that. Then I'll get the midpoint of the peplum itself. Can you see the notch? So for these two, to get the midpoint, I'm going to notch this. So I know that is the midpoint. So I'm now going to place it this way. Can you see the way I place this and then this? Then I'm going to take this up now, match it up with the notch. Can you see that? And then following this seam, I'm going to sew 1/2 an inch all through. From this point, firstly, sew 1/2 an inch till the end here. From this point again, you sew 1/2 an inch till you get to the end. I'm going to do that and show you. I've attached it. Can you see it? So as I was telling you that in case your hole is too wide compared to your waist circumference, it's easy. By the time you're attaching it to the band, just split it a little. Whatever the excess is, just split it and that's all. So what I'll do now is this, is to close it up. It's looking beautiful already. So now I'm just going to sew this. Listen attentively here. So you can just pick from this point. Can you see that? Leave this open, then you sew it all down. So after this, you keep sewing it all. You can use your pressing iron to fold this in, this seam allowance. Then I'm just going to sew it all down till I get here. Can you see that? So I'm going to use my pressing iron to fold it in. Then I'm going to sew it all down. Then you see the final look. Everything has been fully attached. Can you see that? And all set to go. On the wrong side, this is what it looks like. Don't forget to trim all your threads. Can you see? So beautiful. So you can even make this for your girl. It will be so beautiful. When making it for a young girl, make sure you did not use the exact waist circumference. Make sure it's reduced like somewhere here and here. Then just make a round band with an elastic at the back. It's going to be very, very lovely. So now I'm going to show you the final looks of what this look like. Kids, make sure you make yours and share with us on our Facebook group Sewing Innovations. Let me just turn to the back. Can you see that? Do you like it? So do you like it? Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Bilikis Signatures, our Facebook sewing group, Sewing Innovation. Make sure you subscribe, and if my tutorial has been helpful, please give me a giant thumbs up.